Finally, let's do this for real. Sorry it took so long. You know what these legal types are like? Yes, sir. No, sir. Here's 80 pages of needless jargon, sir. Anyway, believe it or not, this is my excited face. Come on, come on. Let me show you what we've got. So, all the usual stuff. Merchandising, likeness, blah, blah, blah. But the really juicy stuff is their expectation of you. They need you to challenge yourself all season, be the best you can be, dominate your teammate, become a legend. All that jazz. Now, it's over to you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of my Formula 1 career mode on F1 24. Here we are at Bahrain, and I have decided to sign a contract with Williams Racing Team. We are a Mercedes Academy driver, and for this season, we'll be racing alongside Alexander Albon. But how well will we do? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is heading straight into qualifying for our opening race of the season. But if you guys do go on to enjoy, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment any comments on what you want me to do in this series. But now, without further ado, let's head straight to qualifying for our opening race in the F1 24 season. So here we go. We just crossed the line to start our first flying lap of our Formula 1 career. Are we going to be able to put in a good lap? Are we going to be able to maneuver the car around the track in the quickest time possible? Well, there's only one way to find out. As we head through the first corner, slightly deep, but it's not too bad as we head into the next DRS zone, and we are really going to fight this first lap, try to put in as much effort into all these corners, get our braking pin points. But there is one slight issue, which is that I don't know what button my overtake is bound to, so yeah, I was kind of just relying on the hot lap ERS for this lap, but I'll get that sorted out for the following lap that I will do later. But now we're heading down this tricky left-hander here onto the back straight, and so far the laps felt pretty clean, but just no ERS. But now we head through the final corner to complete our first flying lap, our first official lap time in Formula 1. Where is it going to put us? And we cross the line, and it is currently P7 ahead of Zhou, but behind Tsunoda. But now I try to go for a second consecutive lap here because I think I finally figured out where my overtake button was. But as you can see, by the end of it, it was just an absolute shocker, and the tires were gone. But I did go out one final time at the end of Q1, and we were flying. We finally figured out where the overtake button was, which allowed us to get up 3/10 by halfway through the lap, and we were looking pretty solid now. As we go through the right-hander, the sweeping right-hander can get dangerous if you put a wheel on the inside curb. Now through the second last corner, we've run it a little bit wide, but it shouldn't hinder us too much. And if you look in the top right at the delta, we're currently up around 3/10. It's fluctuating a little bit, but now the final corner, here we go on throttle nice and early, and we are now up 3.5 tenths. And where is this going to put us as we cross the line? It's going to be about 3.5 tenths, and that is going to be a pretty decent lap. But where are we on the grid? We're P15. P15, and that means in our opening qualifying session, we are going to make it to Q2, and that is what we did. But because of my pace, I thought there was no use going out and using tires for 2 laps, and instead just went for the one final flying lap at the end of Q2, and it felt pretty decent. It felt nice and clean. It felt like I used my ERS efficiently, and we were about to see where it put us as we go around the final corner. Deploy ERS on exit, using it all up, and there it is, deploy used, and now we're racing to the line with the help of a bit of DRS. Right at the end, we cross the line, and where is that going to put us on the grid for the race day? And that is P14, not too shabby at all. It is not last, and that is a good start to the race weekend.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Stroll, Albon, Ocon, Gasly, the rookie, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Joe, Magnussen, and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So here we are on the grid, about to begin our formation lap. We're sitting P14 with both RBs and both Alpines in front and behind us. So we're a bit sandwiched, but if you look up ahead, P14 is actually a pretty decent place for our car to be, as if you look at Albon, he has qualified P11. So it's not like we've gone out of the way and done an absolutely outstanding lap in our car. If anything, we were actually a little bit slow. But now we're going to use this formation lap to warm up our tyres, and then we're going to get to the grid, park it up, hopefully nice and cleanly, and get our opening debut race underway. So the parking is nice and clean, it's purple, and we are on the grid, and we are waiting for the lights now. 4, 5 red lights, and are they going to go out? Yes, they are, they're out, and we are underway. We have had a pretty decent start on the inside, but it is the second phase of the start where we lose a little bit of time. The other driver is just pulling ahead, and we head into the first corner. We're going to take a dive down the inside of Perez. We're about 3, maybe even 4 wide through that first corner. We're going to have to give way, but oh my word, we've almost hit the back of Perez through that second corner as he's been held up by cars in front. But now that's going to leave us vulnerable to Tsunoda and Bottas behind, one of them's going to look for the move. We're going to give him the space, sitting in behind Gasly and trying to use Gasly to pull us along a little bit. But now we head into the right-hand sweeper and then the left-hander, and we're thinking about it, and we are going to go for the dive down the inside of Perez, and that is another place made up, and we make a little bit of contact with Gasly, but it's not too bad on the front wing, and we have made up a position right off the start there of the race up into P13, and we are looking up at Albon in P11, and we know he is our main rival. We want to get past them, we want to make the moves, and hopefully even we are within fighting chance of points on our debut race. But let's see how this goes and see if we can achieve that. Now we're sitting all over the back of Gasly here, all over his gearbox, unable to find a way past just yet, but we're going to remain patient as we make a bit more contact with his rear. Luckily for me, the damage is only on standard, I believe. But as you can see, I am checking my vehicle condition, but look, at the same time, Perez, with the undoubtedly faster straight line speed car, is looking for the move down the inside, and he is still there. We're going to give him a little bit of a squeeze as we head down the straight, but with the use of ERS, he is going to have to tuck in behind us. But now we head to lap 2 later on, and we are still behind Gasly. We're right on his gearbox here. We're going to look for the move now. We've got DRS, we've got ERS. We're going to gain and reel him in. Are we going to go for the move now? Yes, we pull in too late, but we've gone too deep. We have gone way too deep. We are off the track, and a bit of contact there with Gasly as we rejoin, and we have just thrown away a good chance at an overtake there. Wanting to go for the move way too late, completely missing our braking zone, and we have gone very deep. And to be honest, we were lucky that Gasly was on point and actually focused, because otherwise he could have turned into us there, not realizing we made the late move, and there could have been contact, and we could have concluded our race much earlier. But now we have DRS on Gasly. I don't know if oh yes, he does have DRS up front, but we're going to go for the move around the outside here, maybe late on the brakes, as we can go a little bit deeper to give him the room, and we're side by side, and we get the move done. And oh my word, what a move that was. I'm incredibly impressed and happy with that move around the outside at T1 and into T2. But now we are sitting P12, our Williams team P11 and 12, and there is a great possibility that we could maybe pull double points on the opening race of the season. That would be absolutely incredible especially after Williams' performances in previous seasons. So let's see what we can do as we head to lap 5, and we have reeled on to the back of the cars in front as Ocon and Stroll are fighting immensely, which is holding up Albon, but has allowed myself, Perez, and Gasly to close in. So now we are looking to maybe get a move around the cars here, and we're going to go for the late dive on Albon. We wanted to make the move as clean as possible. We didn't want contact. We didn't want to hold him up too much either. We just wanted to get past him because I feel like I have more pace, and I feel like I might have a chance to get past Stroll and Ocon myself. If I just get onto their rears, I think I have the pace and the speed to get the job done. So almost a little bit of a position team swap there. Obviously not team orders, but nonetheless, it has assisted us into getting onto the back of Stroll now, and we're going to look to get the move done as he is on mediums, which is going to allow him more grip as we head further and further into this race. But because he's on mediums, I want to get around him as quickly as possible, if possible, that is. But now we head on to lap 7. We're heading down the straight. We've got Albon 3/10 behind, Stroll 5/10 in front, and Ocon 8/10 in front. And we have decided we're going to box this lap with Albon behind, as well as other cars are pitting early, and I think the undercut will work incredibly well here. And I have the pace, and I'm just getting a bit held up by Stroll and Ocon here. So I'm thinking if I just pit a lap earlier, they will stay out. I'll then be able to get some fresh air afterwards and get my pace down on the tarmac and put in the good lap times and regain or catch up and gain more positions. But now as we head through the next corner, we've got yellow flags up ahead. I'm unaware of what that is for, although I was told earlier that Russell had some issues, so I'm not surprised as we round the bend that it is Russell on the outside there, who's I think is going to have to retire his car with gearbox or electrical issues of some kind. And there is the confirmation. George Russell is out of the session, which has now promoted us into P10. We are officially fighting for points here. But now we head into the pits with our early pit stop decision. But look behind us. If you look in the mirrors or even on the scoreboard, Albon is coming into the pits as well. Albon has come into the pits at the same time as us, and this is catastrophic for the team. We were both fighting for points, but now there is no way that we are both going to still be there in the end, as I was only going to pit the next lap. So now that I've said I was going to pit the lap earlier, obviously Ocon, the prioritized driver, would have had that earlier pit stop. And I did not even think about that when I decided that I was going to box that lap. So I have just thrown my team into complete turmoil there. I have ruined our chances at double points. That is definitely, I take the complete blame for that decision, as it was my decision to box that lap. But I do wish there was some kind of communication between myself and the team that would allow me to tell Albon to pit the lap after. But I suppose I am a rookie after all, and the rookie is always bound to make mistakes, and that is perhaps one of the most critical mistakes I could have made. But now we head on to lap 10, and we have Ocon and Ricciardo behind us. We're currently P14, but there are definitely positions to be gained in this race. But look at the cars, they're just absolutely swarming us here. And ever since coming onto the hard tires, I've just not felt like I've had the pace. My speed on the softs felt really good, same as with Albon. I thought we both had really good pace on the softs, but ever since coming onto these hards after that pit stop, it has just not been going my way. I just don't have the same grip and the same confidence around the track on this compound, and maybe that is just a little bit of karma for pitting early and holding up Albon. But nonetheless, we're just going to have to go on and continue the race as if nothing has happened. We're just going to have to firm it and continue fighting for our positions, and maybe if it's not fighting for points, just fighting for not last, pretty much fighting to remain away from the wooden spoon. But as you can see, we are now on lap 12. All cars have pitted pretty much, I think. Literally every single car. And look at that, we are running it wide, full lock steering to the right, but it's just nothing. And now I make a critical error as I dive down the inside of Ricciardo, but it's a silly move. Braking way too late, and I've not only lost 1, but 2 positions to Bottas as well. And we have just dropped from P14 to 16, and this is where we're seeing the rookie mistakes coming into play now. The other cars, obviously a bit more experienced with fighting a not very quick car and just working the way around the rookies who they know are going to make mistakes, and then they're just preying on my downfall now. And if you look behind, Joe is now pretty much going to be in my mirrors here. He is 1/10 behind as we head around the final corner on to start the 13th lap here. And Albon seems to be fighting the Haas's for P18, so I've really ruined his race and my own. But look, Joe is overtaking us in a Sauber, and he's got the move done, but we're going to make a late switch to the inside and a dive to regain the position. And luckily, it worked out all right, and we didn't go flying into the rear of Ricardo there, almost, but luckily that didn't happen. But this is just showing where our pace has gone, whereas before we were fighting, even Perez, we were fighting Ocon, Stroll, all those cars on the softs, but now that we're on the hards, and yeah, we're fighting Saubers and Haas's. It doesn't get worse than that. We couldn't even catch up to Bottas. So our race really turned bad here. And now we're on to lap 19, the penultimate lap, and look at our tyres. They're pretty wrecked in terms of hards. And now the Magnussen and Hulkenberg, both on softs, are hunting us down. And we're just going to have to try keep them behind here for the remainder of the laps. But it's going to be incredibly hard. Excuse the pun for being on hards. Yeah, you get it. Sorry, I'm just trying to make jokes at this point because my race just turned abysmal. It was not fun in the car, I can tell you that. From going from the start where you're just constantly overtaking people, you're fighting those quicker cars that you know are quicker, to the final laps where you're just on the hard tire and you're just trying to keep people behind. Look at this. I'm full steering lock right and it just does not steer whatsoever. So I was definitely struggling at this point. But honestly, I suppose that is the reality of it all. Formula 1 is a cruel sport where everything can be going away and then the next second it isn't. So we're just going to have to deal with it. This is a learning curve for our career as a rookie. And we're going to go on from this and hopefully improve. But now we're going to try keep Magnussen and Hulkenberg behind here. They're still very close. And we're going to try maintain this P15 position. It's not much, but it is more than nothing. It is more than P20, P19, 18, or 17, or 16. So we're going to try keep them behind here and fight them through the final two corners. We've saved up a little bit of ERS that we're going to be able to use through these final few corners and straights to try and keep them behind. Magnussen is closing in on us, but we use a bit of ERS and he has to drop behind. And now we've round the final corner for the final time of the race, and we are heading to the line to cross it in P15.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car.
I mean, in terms of start to finish, we only lost one position, so it's not terrible if you want to think about it like that. But just from where we were, P10.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
It's always great to kick off the season with a race victory. You hit the ground running, and it's really good for your confidence as well moving forward. It's so important to set off on the right footing, and that's exactly what they've been able to achieve today.
So here are the results from that race, and as you can see, Verstappen won, followed by Piastri and Sainz to close out the podium positions. But look at that, both Ferraris in pretty high positions. But then there am I, down in P15, and Albon, the driver whose race I ruined, down in 18th. And as you can see, we are currently P9 in the constructors, but Red Bull are leading, followed by McLaren and Scuderia Ferrari. But now, if you guys have enjoyed the first episode of my F1 24 career mode, then make sure you go down below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because there's plenty more to come. See you guys next time.